What if I told you that right now, in this exact moment, you have access to a peace that surpasses understanding? Not tomorrow, not after achieving your goals, not when your problems are solved, but right now. This is the core of Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. Tolle begins the book not as a teacher, but as someone who was once drowning in suffering. He describes the night that changed everything, when a wave of inner pain became so unbearable that it triggered a radical shift. He awakened from the nightmare of his own mind. Not metaphorically, literally. He stopped identifying with his thoughts, and for the first time he experienced the space between them. I couldn't live with myself any longer. And in that moment I realized, am I one or two? If I can't live with myself, maybe there are two of me, and maybe only one of them is real. This moment of awakening is not unique to Tolle. It is available to anyone, including you. And that's what this book is all about. How to shift out of the constant thinking mind and into the present moment where peace lives. Chapter 1. You are not your mind. Eckhart wastes no time with fluff. He begins with a bold and liberating truth. You are not your mind. Most people live in their heads. Their thoughts are constant, spinning, analyzing, projecting, worrying. We're addicted to thinking, and we believe every thought we have. But thoughts are not who you are. They're just mental noise, often repeating the same fears, desires, and judgments. The mind is a wonderful tool, but when it runs you, it becomes your prison. The voice in the head isn't who you are. Who you are is the awareness behind the voice. This is the beginning of awakening. Becoming the observer of your mind. Watching your thoughts instead of being pulled into them. The moment you can observe a thought without identifying with it, you create space. You access a higher state of consciousness. Tolle teaches us to feel into that space. The silent presence behind the mind. That is the real you. Chapter 2. Consciousness. The way out of pain. Pain, emotional, mental, spiritual, is rooted in our resistance to the present moment. We suffer because we mentally argue with reality. We dwell in regret about the past or anxiety about the future. But the only place life ever happens is now. The more you are able to honor and accept the now, the more you are free of pain, of suffering, and free of the egoic mind. Tolle explains that all suffering is ultimately the refusal to accept what is. We don't suffer from events themselves, but from our thinking about them. Pain is real, but suffering is optional. To dissolve pain, we must bring the light of consciousness to it. Become present with it. Instead of pushing away uncomfortable feelings, we sit with them. We observe them. We allow them. And in that allowing, the pain begins to lose its grip. This is not spiritual bypassing, it's spiritual honesty. Feeling everything fully without resistance. Because what we resist, persists. But what we bring presence to, heals. Chapter 3. Moving deeply into the now. So how do we enter the now? Tolle reminds us that presence isn't something we achieve. It's something we return to. The doorway is always open. The mind lives in time, past and future. But presence exists only now. So we begin by noticing. Notice the breath. Notice the body. Notice the subtle aliveness in your hands or your chest. One certain criterion for measuring your success in the practice of presence is the degree of peace you feel within. Stillness is the access point. You don't need to fix your whole life. You don't need to heal your entire past. You don't need to solve every future problem. You just need to be here. In this moment. Fully. Completely. The moment you step into the now, you step out of fear, out of anxiety, out of ego. You enter the kingdom of heaven, not in some far-off place, but within your own being. Chapter 4: Mind Strategies for Avoiding the Now. If presence is so simple, why do we avoid it? The answer is this: the ego cannot survive in the present moment. The ego, the false self, needs time to exist. It feeds on past identity and future projection. Time and mind are inseparable. Remove time from the mind, and it stops, unless you choose to use it. We unconsciously seek to escape the now because the ego feels threatened by it. So we distract ourselves. We chase achievements. We dwell on old wounds. We seek validation. We worry endlessly. All of this is a strategy, a defense mechanism, to avoid the naked truth of being. But once you recognize this strategy, it begins to lose power. You realize you have a choice: to sink into another thought or to rest in awareness. Your freedom lies in that choice. Chapter 5: The State of Presence. Tolle devotes this chapter to the subtle but powerful experience of presence. What is it like to be present? It's not a blank state. It's not boring. It's not passive. Presence is alive. It's peaceful, but also deeply alert. When you're present, everything becomes more vivid. The colors are sharper. The sounds are clearer. The body feels lighter. Presence is the awakened state. It is the only state in which true joy, love, and peace can be found. You stop thinking about your life and you start living it. Right here. Not later. Not after. Presence is not about denying action. In fact, Tolle encourages conscious action, but action that arises out of presence, not out of fear or compulsive mind activity. When you act from stillness, your choices become wise. Your words become powerful. Your life begins to flow. Chapter 6: The Inner Body. One of the most practical and powerful techniques in the book is what Tolle calls connecting with the inner body. This means bringing your attention into the body, not mentally analyzing it but feeling it from within. Feel the energy field inside your arms, your legs, your chest, your entire body. Direct your attention inward. Feel the subtle energy field that pervades the entire body. Why is this so powerful? Because the body is always in the now. The mind wanders, but the body is here. So when you feel the inner body, you automatically become present. You shift from thought to awareness. This is also a way to anchor yourself when emotions arise. Instead of being swept up in a storm of fear or anger, you feel it in the body. You breathe into it. You create space around it. And through presence you transmute it. Chapter 7: Portals into the Unmanifested. Tolle introduces the concept of the unmanifested, the formless source behind all form. Some might call it God, spirit, consciousness. Doesn't matter what name you give it. What matters is your direct connection to it. And that connection is presence. There are many portals to the unmanifested. Silence, stillness, surrender, the breath, the gap between thoughts, deep dreamless sleep, true meditation. The unmanifested is the eternal present, the timeless now. When you enter the now deeply, you begin to sense this still field of being beneath all doing. It's not an idea, it's an experience. And once you've touched it, even for a moment, you realize that behind the chaos of life, behind every emotion and thought, there is a stillness that is untouched. That's your true home. Chapter 8: Enlightened Relationships. Spiritual awakening is not something we do alone. Our relationships become powerful mirrors for our state of consciousness. Unconscious relationships are based on ego, need, attachment, blame, projection. They often become battlegrounds of pain. Every addiction arises from an unconscious refusal to face and move through your own pain. But when both people in a relationship become present, something miraculous happens. The relationship becomes a vehicle for growth, for healing, for awakening. Instead of trying to change the other person, you hold space. Instead of reacting, you observe. You learn to stay rooted in presence, even when emotions arise. Tolle explains that presence in relationship is one of the most challenging, but rewarding paths to awakening. Chapter 9. Beyond happiness and unhappiness there is peace. Tolle invites us to step beyond the duality of happiness and unhappiness. In our conditioned minds, we swing between emotional highs and lows. But the truth is, both happiness and unhappiness are temporary. They are dependent on external conditions. Happiness depends on conditions being perceived as positive. Inner peace does not. Inner peace is deeper than happiness. It doesn't rely on what's happening in your life. It's the unshakable stillness beneath the surface. To reach this state, you must learn to surrender to the now completely. You accept what is without resistance. Even if you don't like the present moment, you say yes to it. This does not mean passive resignation. It means deep acceptance. From that place of acceptance, wise action arises. In this chapter, Tolle also highlights how labeling experiences as good or bad creates suffering. Life is always changing and you can't always predict how things will turn out. By dropping mental labels and fully allowing each moment, you become rooted in peace. Chapter 10. The meaning of surrender. Surrender is one of the most misunderstood spiritual principles. Many think it means giving up or becoming weak. But Tolle reveals that true surrender is an inner act of strength. Surrender is the simple but profound wisdom of yielding to rather than opposing the flow of life. When you surrender to the present moment, you stop fighting reality. This doesn't mean you don't act. You still make decisions, take steps, and work toward change. But you do so from a place of peace, not from resistance, fear, or frustration. Surrender doesn't mean accepting injustice or passively enduring abuse. It means no longer allowing your mind to turn the pain into identity. It means becoming fully present with what is, and then allowing life to guide you from there. Tolle uses the metaphor of a swimmer. A person who surrenders is like someone who flows with the current of a river instead of fighting it. That flow is presence. That surrender opens you up to power and transformation. Chapter 11. The discovery of inner space. This chapter goes deeper into the experience of stillness. Tolle introduces the idea of inner space, the sense of spaciousness within you that is free from thought. Most people's inner world is filled with constant mental noise. But with practice, you begin to experience gaps, moments of stillness, the space between thoughts. These moments are incredibly powerful. True intelligence operates silently. Stillness is where creativity and solutions to problems are found. The more you tune in to that stillness, the more it begins to shape your life. You start responding instead of reacting. You listen more deeply. You speak with presence. You begin to live from your essence. Tolle also talks about the space around things, the silence between words, the pauses in music. That space gives things meaning. Likewise, your own stillness gives life its depth. Chapter 12. Enlightenment is not a state you achieve. Many seekers think of enlightenment as a future goal, a perfect state they must attain. But Tolle clarifies that enlightenment is not something you achieve. It is your natural state, once you stop identifying with the mind. You are already enlightened. Just stop believing every thought you have. This isn't about chasing experiences. It's about shedding illusions. Enlightenment is the moment you realize you are not your story, not your emotions, not your identity. You are the awareness behind all of it. In this chapter, Tolle addresses spiritual seekers who obsess over growth. He encourages them to stop seeking and start being. Presence is not a destination. It is the path itself. The shift into presence may happen gradually or suddenly, but it always begins with awareness, becoming still, observing the mind, anchoring in the now. And through that, the light of consciousness grows. Final reflections. Living the power of now. As we reach the end of this profound journey, we return to the central invitation of Eckhart Tolle's work. Be here now. That's it. Every chapter, every insight, every practice leads to this one truth. The power of now is not an abstract idea. It is the most intimate experience of life. It's your breath, your body, the sensation of aliveness. The ego will try to pull you back into past and future, into regret, blame, fear, desire. But now you know the truth. You are not the voice in your head. You are the awareness listening to it. You don't need to silence the mind. You just need to stop identifying with it. And when you do, suffering falls away. What's left is peace, presence, power. Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. Tolle leaves us with this powerful reminder. No matter your past, no matter your circumstances, no matter your pain, right now, in this very breath, you have access to freedom. Because you are that freedom. You just have to remember. So breathe, feel, be still, and return to the now. Because the now is where your life is. The now is where your healing is. The now is where God is. And all of it is already inside you. At the end of this profound book, Eckhart Tolle reminds us of a simple but revolutionary truth. The now is all we truly have. Time is an illusion created by the mind. The past no longer exists, and the future has yet to come. Only the present moment is real. When we live fully in this moment, we free ourselves from anxiety, pain, and the slavery of overthinking. Tolle teaches that our suffering arises from identifying with the mind, the constant inner chatter that never stops. But when we become aware of this chatter and observe it without getting lost in it, liberation begins. We are not our thoughts. We are not our past. We are the awareness itself. The power of now is not a philosophical concept but a living experience. It is an invitation to be, to stillness, to presence, and to deep listening. When we surrender to the present moment without resistance, inner peace appears, and wisdom naturally unfolds. Ultimately, the power of now guides us to awaken from unconscious living, to embrace the present, and to discover the freedom and joy that reside here and now.